Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so pleased to have Robyn Reagan as my guest today. Robyn has been improving systems and building capacity for children, youth, and families for over 30 years. Her first role model was Helen Keller's teacher, Annie Sullivan, and she is a lifelong advocate for children who struggle to make their gifts and needs known. Robyn started as a teacher, counselor, and school administrator at a facility for boys in foster care. While there, she developed an agency-wide training program and consulted with school districts. Robyn has overseen school readiness and community school initiatives, presented at conferences for multi-agency collaboratives on creating positive outcomes for students of all backgrounds and abilities. As a teacher, parent, and grandparent, Robyn is humbled and inspired by the work of Circle of Friends. She is excited to be leading their next chapter as executive director. Welcome, Robyn, and thank you so much for joining me today to talk about your work and your terrific organization.
Well, thank you. It is my pleasure to get the word out.
So, to begin with, what is Circle of Friends, and how was the program created?
Well, Circle of Friends, we're actually celebrating our 20th anniversary informally. In 1999, a speech pathologist named Barbara Paliles was working at Santa Monica High School, and she noticed that her students weren't making the progress that she thought they should be making. So she went to check on them in between her sessions and found they were sitting by themselves, unstimulated, during lunch just with their special day class, or walking across campus by themselves, and she realized they had no opportunity to practice their communication or language skills. Around that same time, a parent at an IEP meeting who had advocated for her son to have friends in elementary school by hosting monthly pizza parties, requested that he have a behavioral goal to make a friend. And in 1999, that stumped the IEP team. They didn't really know how to operationalize that. But Barb was in the meeting, and they put their heads together. So she started by taking this young man and some of her other students and connecting them with some non-disabled peers and asking them if they wanted to commit to having lunch once a week with someone that they might never have gotten to know. And she provided some structure and some guidance so that it was safe and comfortable, and what happened was magic.
Wow, that sounds like a wonderful, wonderful intervention to do there for the kids. How do you partner with schools to implement this program?
Well, so as I mentioned, at Santa Monica High School, the first year there were, about 5 students, and I think by the second or third year, CBS actually did a story because it was hundreds of students strong. And around that time, Barb chose to retire as a speech pathologist, and the parents of those initial students said, "You can't let this retire with you. This should be at other schools." So in 2005, we became a nonprofit organization. We present at conferences, we network with administrators, but we have been brought to districts by parents, teachers, administrators, advocates. We've come to schools in many different ways. They reach out to us and we explain what we do. And typically we end up contracting at the district level, but we have also been funded by education foundations or grants that had a specific region they wanted to support. So we come to districts in many, many different ways.
So what impact has Circle of Friends had on students both with and without disabilities, as well as their educators and their schools?
Well, that's the thing that I think was most surprising at the beginning for Barb. But given my background in foster care and special education, I was not as surprised. Clearly, the students that had been isolated and even victimized because they were different in some way, they are given a safe and kind opportunity to interact, to share their gifts, and get to know someone else at the school. As I mentioned, it started with lunch and, fairly informal, but as the relationships developed, they wanted to do other things. And so they would plan monthly parties, or they would go to school events like plays or football games as a group. And the students just grew. They felt much more comfortable. We heard about IEP meetings with parents where they actually cried because they shared that they were at a restaurant or somewhere in town, and a student came up and gave their kid a high five. And they said their child had never felt known or really had a friend. And now they had lots of friends and wanted to go to school. We had, just this past year, we had a student that had to be encouraged to go to Disneyland with his grade for their graduation. He originally said he didn't want to go because it was his circle of friends lunch day.
Oh my goodness, that's what I mean. To turn down a trip to Disneyland, now that's pretty big.
Right, that was the power. So those are the students with disabilities. The gen education, or typically developing peers, many started off, they wanted to help. And they saw an opportunity. We have lots of siblings that really know the struggle in their life, and so they want to reach out and help other students outside their families. But what we found, whether they were in second grade or 12th grade, is they may have started off wanting to help, but they found out that they got help, and they grew tremendously. They developed creativity, patience, problem-solving skills, leadership. We had students that, started off in one small circle with their new friends, and then the next year they noticed that another kid was just sitting by themselves and said, well, let's welcome them. Or one of the student projects is they do an ability awareness assembly. And that started because some of Barb's original students came and said, the ninth graders are mean this year. They don't know that we don't treat kids badly because they're different. And so the students actually developed an assembly that they did at all the ninth grade health classes. And again, this was student driven. And so I think that's one of the most impressive things, is that the students learn that it's okay to be different. They feel more comfortable with people that are different, and they want their school to be a safer, kinder place.
That is absolutely wonderful. I mean, truly, that is just so heartwarming to hear. Well, tell me, why do you feel that your work is particularly important in today's climate?
Well, unfortunately, we have seen an increase in bullying and hate crimes and just intolerance nationwide. And unfortunately, it starts at the top. And whether students are taking those examples and bringing them to school, or they're just feeling the stressors, we are seeing an increase in these incidents. And whether it's bullying or school, student suicide or school shootings, all of these things are part of a culture that is violent and intolerant. And on the converse, we also know that students, or this upcoming generation, they have more opportunity and are more accepting of different sexualities, different abilities, different races. They have the opportunity to be incredibly open, but they need a safe forum to do that. And school is the most logical place. It's a place they go every day. But most of the focus is on academics. And so we need an intentional way to give them these opportunities to be themselves and get to know someone else on an even field.
This is a wonderful program. Let me tell you, Robyn, I mean, this sounds like a program that should be spread far and wide for those with disabilities, without disabilities. It's a basic philosophy that I think everyone should follow. And it just sounds like it's had some amazing results. Now, you are located in Los Angeles, is Circle of Friends in other areas and states, or do you work with other affiliated organizations as well?
We have worked with Shane's Inspiration, which is now Inclusion Matters. We've partnered with them. We've contracted with LA Unified and actually created a training of trainers program. But we have pockets of Circle of Friends programs in Santa Clarita, in Imperial County, in the Central Valley, in Northern California. So we go where we're needed. And we even have some out-of-state programs that found our website and reached out and wanted to make it happen. And so we go where we're needed.
So if somebody does want to reach out to you and they happen to be in Iowa or in Rhode Island or in Florida or wherever they happen to be, they can reach out to you and you can at least point them in the right direction.
Yes. Unfortunately, one of the typical challenges is funding. As you may know, special education has been woefully underfunded. The IDEA requirement to provide federal support has never reached where it's supposed to be. And as students present more and more needs, that bucket isn't getting any bigger. On the positive side, because we benefit school culture and general education students, districts have been able to use school climate and safety dollars, anti-bullying dollars. So they've been able to create blended funds to contract with us.
Okay, well, that is very good to know. So is there anything else at this point that you'd like to add that we haven't covered? And what do you think is the most important takeaway for our listeners to remember from our conversation?
One thing I did not mention is the impact that it has on educators. Because inclusion is the law, a lot of students are spending time in general education classrooms, up to 80%, but taking up the same space is not actually inclusion. And often they are relegated to the back of the room. They have their own paraeducator as support. And we've had general education teachers who attend our training say that before Circle of Friends, they meant well, but they would talk to the adult. They would talk to the helper rather than the child, just because they didn't feel comfortable or they didn't quite know how to communicate with the child. But once they started this group and they saw their peers, now they feel like all of their students are their students, and they have those relationships that teachers don't get this kind of training or preparation in their credential programs. And so this is really an important resource that Circle of Friends provides. Is we work with the teachers, and the teachers change the culture because they know the school and they get to know their students.
Teachers should get this kind of training, even though they don't. And that is definitely, I think, a change that needs to happen. Would you not agree?
Oh, definitely. It's affecting morale. It's affecting, teachers want to do a good job. And without special supports, they're actually leaving the field earlier.
Well, tell me, Robyn, how can our listeners reach you if they have questions or if they want to know more?
Well, they can reach me two ways. One is through our website. Our website is www.circleofriends.org. There's only one F in the address, so we say Circle O Friends. And the other way is they can email me as executive director. My email is Robyn@Circle of Friends, and that's ROBYN.
Okay, so it's Robyn, ROBYN, at Circle of Friends, and that's all spelled out, right?
All spelled out, but only one F.
Okay, so let's spell that then. CIRCLEOFRIENDS, right?
Yes, .org, yes.
.org, okay. And then the website, again, would you like to, let's spell that as well, please.
Sure, so that's www.circleofriends.org.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much, Robyn, for your time and for the wonderful information that you've shared with us today.
Well, thank you, and I hope to be able to reach out and make connections because, as you said, this program is needed and effective, and it's really making a difference with the students that we work with. One of our taglines or mottos is that Circle of Friends changes lives one friendship at a time.
I like that. I like that very much. I also want to thank our listeners for spending part of their day with us. I'm Gilda Evans reminding you to take care of yourself and that special person in your life.